So this is my review of the Polaris Expedition. I went to the San Juans in the end of September, just north of Silverton, and decided to go play around in the Rocky Mountains for a few days. And I've had the Expedition for like a month, and it had been a lot of fun, done some trails, but I wanted to really see what it was like on some real off-roading trails. And in the video, you'll see some easy trails and some moderate trails. The difficult trails, I was so focused on what I was doing. I wasn't actually out there to shoot a video. I was just out there goofing around with the drone. Thought I'd get a couple cool shots to show my folks. But this thing does amazing. And one of the reasons why I like coming to this area to go off-roading is because of the history. There's all those mining towns like what you just saw. And you can go out and see a part of history and enjoy and have some fun doing your off-roading at the same time. So it adds a whole nother aspect to it. On top of awesome trails, you get some awesome sights, and you get some history to go walk through and experience as well. While I was there, I ran into Polaris. They were doing a press weekend, and they had these expeditions out there, and they were going to go out and camp out overnight in the tops of the mountains with the expeditions, kind of to do the, that 72-hour weekend that they were talking about. And I was really fortunate that they were there, because just north of where I am right here, I punctured my tire, and it took like 3 rope cords. Well, I've got the flat. Some guys kind of helped me limp the thing down into camp, and then I ran into Polaris there, and they were like, "We'll fix it, no problem." And I'm like, "Hey, it's okay. You got the tools. Like, I'll do it." And they were like, "No, you're good. We'll take care of it. This is our vehicle. We want you to enjoy it. You just take a load off." And they were great people. I got to talk to them a little bit too about the vehicle, and when I bought it, the dealership said, under 25 miles an hour, or 20 miles an hour, you need to be in low range. And kind of what I gather from them is that they've redone the gearing and the clutch on this a little bit, made some adjustments just for this vehicle. And what brings me to this point is I asked them, how are you getting 200 plus miles a tank when I'm getting like at best 160, 170, and I'm not a racer. I don't rally this thing. I don't have this thing wide open barreling down the trails. I'm more of the guy that I like to just look at the sights, be out in the outdoors, enjoy some nice trails, and have a good weekend. And from what I gather, I drove with them for a little bit. On this vehicle, you can run the high range at a lot lower speed than you can on other ones. I found that when I would run high, when I go 7 miles and above, as long as it's not, super steep incline like what you're looking at right here on the video where I'm climbing up to the top of this pass, I'm in low range. But when you get to where it's not as steep, and you'll kind of know, because when you start out and it'll kind of like skip trying to get going, then you're going, it's a little too steep to be running low range. But if you're already rolling into it at high range, then you'll be fine. It's just the starting that's kind of difficult. But once I started using the high range more often, even at lower speeds, I was able to achieve that 200-mile range or greater. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Give it a test. If you're okay with trying to test and switching out a belt and figuring out where your sweet spot is for your vehicle to run to get that high range and out and not do damage to your belt, you will find that you can do a lot with this one, even in high range. And also talking with Polaris, I was asking them, is having the roof tent on top, is it top heavy? And they looked at me and kind of scratched their heads and were like, oh yeah, we didn't really even think about that when we did some technical trails yesterday. And I asked them what ones they had done. And I decided the next day, I'm going to go do a loop on these. I'm going to go run these too. And there was parts where I was like, holy Hannah, I think I'm going to tip over. And I was sweating bullets and I was nervous because I was tipped over pretty far and I felt like I was kind of rocking. And then there's a 200-foot cliff right on the other side of me. And I didn't tip it, obviously. And then I think about, like, those guys took the XP and the ADV5 with roof tents over this and they didn't tip. These vehicles must be really well thought out because, holy crap, I thought I was going over. So the vehicles are more than capable of doing whatever you could possibly want, whether it's going through this rocky stuff like you see right here, or if it's going down a wide gravel graded dirt road. You will be fine in this vehicle. I mean, and I came from having a Rubicon with the Fox suspension, the differential unlock differentials on it. This thing outperforms it and outrides it, bar none. I would take this over doing it in a Jeep any day. It is so much more fun. I mean, you can pop that windshield open. It was like the mid 40s, right? And this one, unfortunately, I don't have heater AC like a North Star. And I would advise people, if you're really wanting to do this and you're going to only buy one of these for a long time, the North Star is the way to go. But my vehicle, it did great. It was like high 40s, mid 40s. I could pop open the windshield, have a flannel shirt on, and I would be warm enough from the heat coming up from the engine into the cab. And it was just total fun, amazing. Like, I have no regrets to doing this, and I cannot wait to go out and do it again. And my channel here, we're going to be transitioning over. I'm going to be doing more of this stuff than with the motorcycles. And I got some awesome ideas for trips to do with these. So if you guys are wondering about overlanding with these vehicles and how they perform doing it, I'm going to be doing some trips overlanding with these, maybe try to do some of the BDR stuff with this vehicle. Especially, I live in Arizona. These are legal to drive on the road. I'm going to try and do a winter or fall BDR trip with this vehicle. So stay tuned for that. And I hope you guys enjoy this video, getting to see some of the scenes of this thing in action, actually doing some mountain trails in real life. I'm sorry if I'm a slow driver, but I spent my whole life going fast, racing motocross. Now I just want to enjoy the scenery and take my time. So till next time, guys.